Good morning. Our story today comes from Australia. It's called Princess Grandma and it's by Jenny Overend and Naomi C. Lewis. Everyone called her Grandma. I did too. They said she was a Fijian princess, but she didn't live in a palace. Her house was smaller than ours next door. I asked her if she had a crown, but she just laughed and showed me a curved yellow whale's tooth on a piece of twine. She said it brought much more good luck than a crown and lightly stroked it with her fingers. Grandma made the best curries ever. When the smell of frying spices wafted in our window, I would crawl through the fence and sneak in Grandma's back door. She'd be sitting at a small bench in her tiny kitchen, putting spoonfuls of yellow curry onto rounds of pastry. I would catch the peas that fell from the spoon. I always had the first samosa, still bubbling hot from the pan, and there would be one for my pocket. My mother said Grandma's cakes were lighter than air. Grandma would sit with the bowl of cake mixture between her knees and mix while she told me stories of when she lived by the sea. Stories of the turtle calling, when the big shelled sea creatures would come to the calling of the villagers, their broad hard backs rippling the blue ocean, of the turtle who cried large shining tears when her eggs were found in the sands. Grandma told stories of the shark god who would visit in the night, and of the carver spirit who would come to the palm thatched bures. There were always children at Grandma's. I would try to unwind their tight back curls to see how far down their backs they would reach. They would sit with Grandma shelling peas with their fine brown fingers. The older ones peeled the ginger or grated the coconut, rhythmically scraping the white flesh over the blade. I'd watch it fall in little white clumps flecked with brown. Then Grandma would squeeze out the milk with her hands into her old china bowl and give me the dried out pulp to chew. Grandma had a vegetable garden in her backyard. It wasn't like ours, full of tall string beans and overgrown zucchinis. She grew yams and taros, sweet potato, and lots of green leafy plants. The leaves are for healing, she would say. Grandma's house had shells. There were large shells you could hold and run slowly over your cheek, their insides smooth and pink and mysterious. There were little shells strung together, their identical rounded backs and open mouths all in a row. On Grandma's floor were woven mats. She'd woven them, she said, sitting under a giant mango tree overlooking the sea. They were made of the huge leaves from the trees that grew down by the white sand. I would sometimes find Grandma on hot afternoons lying in her red sulu on her mat. When it's quiet, these mats whisper of the sea. Ah, it cools you down. It was a warm Sunday evening when I smelt samosas. I peeped my head around Grandma's door. But it wasn't Grandma's white head bent over the coconut grater. It was someone with a halo of tight black curls around her face. When she saw me, she nodded. I'm sorry, she's gone. It was time for her to return. Here, Grandma said this is for you. It was a small woven mat. They told me later that she was buried on a hill that overlooked a beach a white beach by a turquoise sea. Little iridescent fish dart over the coral, and the sea plants sway endlessly to the timeless rhythm of the ocean. The sea is dotted with dark green islands, where the turtles return each year to lay their eggs, and dolphins frolic in the swell. Grandma's hill faces east, and on clear nights a full yellow moon rises over the giant mango tree and sends a shower of spangled light shimmering across the sea to the white sand. I thought it sounded just right for a princess. Sometimes on hot sticky nights I take my pillow and lie on Grandma's woven mat on the floor under the window where I can see the stars. It's then I hear a whisper of palm fronds and a hiss of waves on a reef a long, long way off. The end. Bye.